Hello again. The other day I saw a video with Jennifer Maguire, who I've admired for so long, make a card with a butterfly and its wings popped up every time the card was open. Folded flat to go through the mail, but when you took it out of the envelope, the wings would pop up. And I thought, what a brilliant idea. And it's kind of so straightforward. So I thought I would combine that process with just simply putting a card together from the start to the finish. So this one is a little one of these Sizzix butterflies. I do love them. They've got the die itself is the butterfly, but it's got all these little extra bits that go onto the top. And to be honest, here they've used it with just two different colours of card, but I think it's perfect for using up some of the backgrounds that I've made using different techniques, because you know what you get is kind of so varied. So what I propose to use today is this one, which is from a video I made quite some time ago. I think this one was using Nuvo shimmer powders with a stencil, and I did I got a print through the stencil, and this one is a print from the top of the stencil where I actually put the colour on to go through. So there's another video for that. Yeah, I'm sure you can find it just down the column on my channel. Anyway, what I propose to do is this. I want to cut some of that for this butterfly. But this being a solid die, I did this once before, it's really hard to see exactly what you're going to get on the wings. So I just got this is a piece of scrap out of the bin, and I cut this die from it so I can use it like a window to look through here. You see, that's kind of boring there, but when you come down here and you've got a pale bit, a deep bit, and a bit of grey, that I think looks really interesting. These bits are not going to be quite so interesting, but I have a cunning plan for those if they look rather boring before we finished. So what I'm going to do is place this into that gap, and you can feel when it's in the right place. This is just thin copy paper, so it should go through my die cutting machine and cut through the card without any difficulty. If it doesn't, I can always put it through a second time. So there it is, through my machine. I'll come back this way. And there we have it. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at it. Now, here's my template. Here's my other bits. I think this is such a fabulous die. I love it. This is a fancy bit off the wing. I may just leave it, or that goes on the top. This one, did I have trouble finding where this one went? I think that one goes kind of there. And this one goes, where does it go? Down there. Actually, I think that is fine. What I was thinking was, if that looked a little bit sort of boring, what I could do is just choose some ink that is of a, you know, compatible colour, and just brush a little with a blending brush or something on, just to give it a bit more vibrance. But I actually kind of like the paleness of that one, so we will see. So let's just stick these on. Actually, there we go. Pop out any more, all the tiny bits. There we go. And this one. Okie doke. just stick these on. There we are. Need a bit more glue to come out. This works on a bit like a valve. When you press the nib down, it releases more ink. And sometimes if you're just swiping around, it tends to get a bit dry. But if you press a few times, the ink starts to flow again. Right, this one goes on here. There we are. This one goes on here. This one goes, there are actually tiny little marks. It comes out on this die cut as score marks sort of thing, which do actually give you the positions, the suggested positions for these little appendages. I don't know if you can see on there. They're outlined here, and it gives a little score mark on the actual die cut itself. There we go. Remember to put the top on. And there's our butterfly. Now, the way that Jennifer Maguire got the butterfly to hold up his wings was really so simple. What she used was a tiny piece of acetate. Now, this is quite, it's got a bit of resistance. It's quite stiff. I think this probably came from some packaging of some description, perhaps the front of one of those hang-up bag things, you know, you get with dies in and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure where it's from, but maybe food packaging or whatever you can find, but it does need to have a little bit of resistance. So what I'm going to do is this. This little piece will do both wings. So I'm going to cut it in half. It's tougher than I thought. And now what I'm going to do is just near to the end, just score it so that I can fold it over. And there I've scored it in a not very good place. Let me just cut that bit off and do that bit again, because that it wasn't long enough. Right, let me just, that should be all right. Let's try again. There we go. There. Now I've got a score line and I can fold it on that score line, and the same with the other little piece. One of these is to go behind a wing, each one to go behind a wing. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Now, where did I put it? There it is. Fold it over, and I've got like a little V-shaped, it's like a tick, or what the Americans would call a check mark. Okay, now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to put a piece of very strong double-sided tape onto the short piece. And on this one, double-sided tape onto the short side. Okie dokie. Now, what's going to happen is this. These bits are going to be stuck to the card. The butterfly down the middle is going to be stuck to the card. So these little things are just going to push it up because of the resistance in it. It doesn't want to lie flat. So now quickly to do the front of this card, it's just got, this is kind of, I don't know what you call this. It's a kind of a die. It's a die. It's an embossing cutting die. It doesn't cut anything out. It actually just cuts into the piece of card that you're using. So this is the die I use to cut my front panels. So don't have any bits on there. The front panel is going to be cut. I'm going to put it slightly on an angle so it doesn't make that dreadful cracking sound. Put my, can you see this? Probably just about, I can't really tell, it's underneath the, I think that's about in the middle. And I'm going to cut that out. There we go. Oopsie-daisy. There's my front panel. And I'll just put these out. This is, I think this is Memory Box, this one. I love Memory Box dies. Absolutely love them. There are certain companies that kind of speak to me, and there's certain companies that I take one look at and I think, ooh, can't bear it. And I think it's to do with simplicity, really. I like the clean and, for everything, clean and simple looks. And so stuff that is, you know, highly decorated and all that kind of stuff. Oops, nearly got rid of my flap then. Good gracious. Right, there we go. Now then, because these are quite sort of thickish, do you know what I mean? If I try and just glue that onto there, these are going to push it off. So the way I devised was to use a bit of foam tape. Now, this is a bit wide, so I'm going to cut it, make it a bit narrower. There we go. I'm going to put that down the middle of the butterfly. Then this, I'm going to put, now that's a bit too, let me just cut a bit out of that. Just going to arrange it there. It's because it's double-sided tape, the side of it is kind of sticky. So let me just move it up a bit. That's all right, I think. And this just sort of hangs onto it just a little bit. That's too long as well. Let's just chop a bit off this side. Yeah, that looks okay. Now, the next thing, oh, let me just put a bit of, it's not staying in position there. I'm just going to put a little bit of something sticky on the edge of there. Okay. That's better. It's just hanging in now. The next thing is to take off these. Oh my goodness. Come on, there it is. 1 and 2. Back you go. And the one off the piece of foam tape. There we are. Put this back. Okay. Now, we should be able to just arrange this onto our front piece. There it is. And so now, these little things want to spring open. You see? Behind there. So when I push it down, it springs back up again. So now all I have to do is put that onto the front of my card. I did add a few tiny, I love these, tiny gems. They're 1mm gems, and I think they're fabulous. Did add some of those, and a simple sentiment in matching, in, you know, white on white card. So there we go, a butterfly about to take off from his card. Hope you have some fun, and thanks for watching.